Western Hospitals. Your health, our mission.
Today, as we commemorate World Kidney Day, the Western Hospital is opening 2 new dialysis units with state-of-the-art technology and great service just for you. So stay tuned to Hi TV as we bring to you more on this.
Western Hospitals. Your health, our mission.
In conversation with Vidya Jyoti Professor Rizvi Sharif to get to know more about Western Hospital and his career. Hi, so happy to have you here.
Hello, how do you do?
To start off, I'd like to know about your experience in terms of local and internationally, and also your qualifications and how you came across this field, and also some of the key research that you have done.
Okay, let me start with the basic qualification to be a doctor in Sri Lanka. You need to have MBBS, and I passed out of the Colombo Medical School, and actually I passed out first in the batch, so I was a good student. And then immediately after that I did the MD Ceylon, which was a very highly rated qualification at that time, to be the highest academic qualification in the University of Colombo. Soon after that I went to UK because in the field of kidney disease there was no unit in the country. So I had to go to some place, and the commonest place we used to go those days was London and UK. And there I went for qualification. The first time you have to do MRCP. MRCP is the membership of the Royal College of Physicians of London, and that's what I got. Immediately after getting that qualification, you have to settle down to a particular field. Now, Sri Lanka only had cardiology and neurology at that time. They did not have any other special areas of interest. And having discussed with my senior professors, I decided that it's practical to do kidney medicine because there are enough kidney diseases in Sri Lanka. At the same time, there is nobody who can give an opinion on kidney diseases. And therefore, I decided to do nephrology, as it was called, in UK, particularly in Southampton University and Glasgow University. I did nephrology before returning back to Sri Lanka as the first consultant nephrologist for this country. Now you asked me a question on what is the research interest I have. At the start, because nobody has focused on anything in kidney disease in Sri Lanka, I was doing almost right across the board, like infections, as well as nephritis, as well as anything. But one of the first things was to build up the practical application of what I have learned. In other words, we talked about artificial kidney treatment or hemodialysis treatment. So the first step was to set up hemodialysis treatment, which was not there in the government sector. So I had to do that in the private sector. Soon after that, the next step was to set up kidney transplantation. Now, kidney transplantation was a very much superior type of therapy which was found only in the advanced world. And here I set it up locally with the simple facilities we had. So from that point onwards, we haven't turned back, and we would have done thousands of transplants, and we have trained so many people in kidney disease as well as in transplantation. Now I think, estimate more than 4,000 transplants must have been done in Sri Lanka, and out of that, my center alone would have done at least 1,500 transplants. Dialysis wise also, we have done a lot of dialysis in Sri Lanka, but now in the country there are so many dialysis units, and we have more than 20 to 30 nephrologists who are trained like me in England, and now they have come, and almost the entire country, you can proudly say that they have got a kidney specialist in their district or province.
In terms of the history of Western hospitals, kidney transplant and dialysis programs, tell us more about it, and also how has it helped the nation to mitigate CDK?
Well, actually, the first dialysis center was set up down this road in a place called Borella Nursing Home in 1984, mind you. And by 1985 October, we set up the first chronic center in Borella Nursing Home, which was opened by Lalita Tratmudali and Sir Dr. Ranjit Antapattu, who were the Ministers of Health and Colombo Group of Hospitals. And after we started that, by October in the same year, now in May we opened the unit, by October we did the first kidney transplant. And that was also done in the private sector in Ratnam Hospital, Colombo. One Mr. Lita Thirimane is the one who received the kidney from his father, Mr. Charles Thirimane. And both were actually hospital attendants. So we were able to bring this new technology of kidney transplantation to this country in 1985, 5th of October.
In 1985, a team headed by Professor Rizvi Sharif revolutionized the Sri Lankan healthcare industry by performing the country's first ever kidney transplant. The cross-dimensional team included members from the Colombo University, Ministry of Health and other private entities. The success of this pioneering transplant effort has led to over 1,000 surgeries from its inception. In November 1996, Western Hospital took in a fresh start by moving to a designated facility with a staff managed by a team of dedicated professionals. Via this dedication for transplantation, Western Hospital has proven to be the perpetual engine of growth by becoming Sri Lanka's #1 kidney transplant hospital provider by recording the highest number of transplants for the years 2013 to 2014. Western Hospital is well prepared and fully equipped to assist patients in every manner. This includes the largest transplant ICU in the country, which enables effective patient recovery by incorporating high-quality care with modern laboratories, designated dialysis units with home visits on request.
Now, what is the chronic kidney disease problem in Sri Lanka and how big is it of a problem in this country?
Actually, in 1985, when we started kidney transplant, we did not know of the existence of this problem. It was actually by research in my own unit in Colombo in the early 1993 that we came across this issue that the farmers in Polonnaruwa, Anuradhapura, Kurunagala, in those areas were afflicted with a chronic kidney disease of uncertain origin. We used to call it CKDU, but now they have renamed it as CINAC. That means chronic interstitial nephritis in agricultural communities. So it's really farmers who deal with pesticides, and the water that they get to use is really poor quality, and all these factors together, hardness of water, fluoride in water, heavy metals in water, they may all have some interaction, and that is how the kidneys of those people who are all the time drinking this water was getting affected, and there was a chronic kidney disease of unknown origin, or CKDU, which we started recognizing from early 90s, and today they say that more than 60,000 people may have died of chronic kidney disease. That means more people have died of chronic kidney failure compared to the terrorist problem we had over the same period. Right?
I'd like to know, how do you treat patients with kidney disease, and how does kidney transplantation and dialysis help the patients with CDK?
Well, actually, when somebody is supposed to have some kidney disease, we can stage it, like stage 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that. So the ones which have a mild illness is stage 1, and the one who has the most severe illness is stage 5. So when it is stage 5, then the patient is having nausea and vomiting and unable to eat and feeling miserable, like, and swollen body, and then they also become pale and anemic, like. So that is the stage at which we decide that we need to give some artificial kidney machine treatment, that is hemodialysis. So there is a machine, and there is a thing called the dialyzer, a membrane made of some kind of nylon type of filter, and the blood is sent through that, and on one side of the membrane the blood goes through, and the other side a certain fluid called the dialysis fluid is sent in, and certain exchange occurs. So when you have kidney failure, you basically mean that you are unable to get rid of waste products from your body. Kidney is supposed to get rid of waste products. So when you have failure of the kidneys, then the waste products accumulate. For instance, there is something called urea and creatinine and potassium and so on. All these things increase the blood levels in the blood. So we can do a blood test and find out whether you have got kidney failure. Right? So when you have that type of situation and that type of symptoms, then we say the patient may have to undergo dialysis treatment. And there we connect the patient to a machine for about 4 hours, and we find the blood of the patient is taken out of the person, put through the machine, and the machine removes all these waste products, and the blood is sent back to the patient. Right? So that is really what we do on dialysis. So we do 4 hours of dialysis, and the recommendation is to do 3 times a week, and well, you don't have facilities in Sri Lanka so much, so because of that people do at least twice a week.
Western Hospitals, your health, our mission.
The most widely used form of dialysis therapy is called hemodialysis. At the center of hemodialysis is a dialysis filter. known as a dialyzer. Serving as an artificial kidney, it cleanses the patient's blood during the treatment. Inside a plastic tube 30 centimeters long, about 12 inches, the blood flows through up to 20,000 hair-fine fibers. Microscopic pores in the fibers filter out metabolic waste and excess water, which the dialysis fluid then carries away. As the blood cleansing process proceeds inside the dialyzer, a dialysis machine pumps the blood, administers anticoagulants, and monitors circulation. A treatment can take from 3 to 6 hours, usually 3 times a week.
Tell me, who is this Fresenius Medical Care and what is this partnership to develop the dialysis unit of Western Hospital?
Well, actually there are so many companies which produce kidney machines, so many companies which produce dialyzers, so many companies which produce water treatment systems. So the water which comes off the tap goes through certain filtrations like carbon filters and then goes through what is called reverse osmosis, and then very clean, pure, we call it ultra pure water, 99.999% pure water only is taken in to dialyze, so that is important, because when you keep on repeatedly dialyzing with dirty water, then you are going to end up with collecting this dirt in the body, So already the patient is having kidney failure, unable to get rid of dirt, and on top of that, if you add on dialysis dirty water, then you have a problem. So the importance of giving very clean water to the dialysis machine cannot be overemphasized, and that's what we have done with the Fresenius company. They have partnered with us in order to give excellent machines with RO systems and cleanliness of water, so in order to give us ultra pure water, better than the water quality we have had all these days with other systems, because Fresenius company is one of the world's leading dialysis equipment manufacturers in the world, from Germany and US, and therefore we have tied up for the first time in the private sector to bring this new technology to this country.
Fresenius Medical Care is the market leader in dialysis. More than 2.3 million patients with kidney disease and chronic renal failure receive this life-saving treatment. Fresenius Medical Care produces hemodialysis machines, dialyzers, and products for hemo and peritoneal dialysis for these individuals.
Can you tell us from 3 perspectives, by collaborating with world's #1 manufacturing company, what advantages do you get out of this partnership?
As I have already mentioned, we are giving good quality water. So that will help the patient get a good quality dialysis. You see, now the question is not just giving a dialysis, but giving a good quality dialysis. So really, Fresenius undoubtedly is one of those good quality care centers where they give water treatment quality, the machines are of good quality, and the dialyzers are of good quality. So all 3 aspects of getting good quality water and then putting it through certain fail-safe machine systems, and thirdly, we have quality of care. So the patient will find that his serum creatinine comes down very well, the potassium comes down very well, and also the water doesn't carry microorganisms. If you have good quality water, then you are free from little bugs and viruses which produce illness in the patient. Otherwise, every time you dialyze somebody, they may have certain ill effects of the water quality, so that is avoided by going to a good manufacturer. So people in Sri Lanka will be assured of good quality. Of course, it's slightly more expensive, not a lot more expensive, but it's well worth that extra expense to be able to get a good quality dialysis with good quality water, as well as safe and easy dialysis, that you don't get so much symptoms post dialysis or during dialysis.
Can you also tell us about the benefits of the new Fresenius dialysis machines?
Well, actually, different companies make dialysis machines with the different parameters. It's like your mobile phones, You find that different companies make mobile phones, but the basic functions of the mobile phone is easy. But there are certain softwares which we can use for, say, continuous online monitoring. Now, if you want to remove 4 liters of water, we can set the dials in such a way that you have a smooth removal of that 4 liters. If you remove quickly, then the patient can have giddiness and dizziness and so on. But if you can set the machine to slowly remove over the 4 hours, then you find that they have a more comfortable dialysis. So that is one of the important points about using high technology machines.
We also heard that certain contaminants in water will cause kidney disease. Now, how does this, process really work? And when it comes to dialysis, how is all of this, taken care of?
Well, actually, if you look at the CKDU problem I talked about in Polonnaruwa and Anuradhapura, now a lot of research has gone into this in the country, and they find that hardness of water as well as fluoride in water are the 2 major culprits which produce kidney damage. Also, heavy metals in water like arsenic, lead, mercury, chromium and so on, or cadmium, will produce certain illnesses if it is just micronutrients, but little by little they accumulate when you dialyze them. So you find that somebody who has dialyzed for 10-15 years might have an unusual load of lead and cadmium and so on in their body, which may produce certain neurological weaknesses of certain nerves and so on, or numbness of nerves. So that is not there. If you have good quality water which is removing, the good reverse osmosis system will remove all these metallic ions from the water which is connected, because most of the time it is tap water which is connected, and the first level is to remove big particles using filters, carbon filters, sand filters and so on. So once it is filtered, then you put it through the RO system, which takes out all the chemicals, as you mentioned. Those chemicals are taken out, not 100%, but maybe 99.999%. And also certain bugs, like viruses and so on, can be very tiny, and even those viruses and bacteria are removed, so that that type of organisms which are small or toxins are also removed, which makes it easier, and the patient does not have illnesses because of these contaminants.
Fresenius Medical Care brings it all together with the Aqua B Plus dialysis water treatment system. This innovative platform delivers the operational and technical advantages that executives, nurses, technicians, and administrators want and patients need. The Aqua B Plus, the next generation in dialysis water treatment.
I'd like to know from you, who is Mr. Vijay Ransi and how has he helped the development of dialysis in the Western Hospital and even in Sri Lanka?
Actually, Mr. Vijay Ransi is a senior technical person. You know that the kidney dialysis is a machine, and I, as a doctor, I can look after patients, but I can't look after a machine. The machine is highly complicated. It has got pumps and it has got various types of, chips and IT-based equipment. So, Mr. Vijay Ransi was really a senior technician whom I partnered with to introduce dialysis into Sri Lanka. So, he was also trained in England in Charing Cross Hospital, and he wanted to come down and settle down in Sri Lanka. So since he has trained in this field, he didn't have anybody to partner with. And it was just fortunate that I was also looking out for a technician. And I said, why don't you come and join me, and we will together give this thing. So I found the money to invest on kidney machines and also getting down these things from UK, and Vijay helped to maintain these and look after the machines in good condition. And so both of us together really were the ones who really set up the first dialysis setup in the chronic in the chronic dialysis setup in Borella nursing home. And then once we set up the chronic dialysis system, we used really the reused dialysis. We used to reuse dialysis. Now the companies do not like reuse. They want you to use and throw it away like. But we found that it is possible to reuse, and in a country like Sri Lanka, reuse was really a practical method of keeping the cost down, because people found that dialysis was very costly. So the average dialysis in the market today costs about 9,000 rupees to 10,000 rupees. But when we reuse some of the parts, we can bring that cost down to about 5,000 rupees or slightly less also. So this has become a new thing, and Mr. Ransi unfortunately died last year, and in memory of Mr. Ransi, who actually introduced even reuse to Sri Lanka, Western Hospital has thought it fit to open a new dialysis center called the Mercy Dialysis Center in memory of Mr. Vijay Ransi, and that's what we did today.
So for those of you at home who don't have much of a knowledge about this, I'd like to ask you, what exactly is Mercy Dialysis?
Well, Mercy Dialysis is the same dialysis using the same quality good water, but the machine is different and the dialyzers are different. The dialyzers, we don't use it once. After we use it for one patient, for the same patient, we can keep reusing it by washing. It's like you wear a shirt, you don't throw it the next day. Like, you can wash it and iron it and use it again. In a similar way, the dialyzer is cleaned, sterilized using chemical sterilants, heat sterilized, and then the same dialyzer is used for the same person more than once, sometimes once or twice or three times or four times. In certain countries in the world, in Brazil and in Spain and so on, they have used it even over 100 times. But I won't recommend 100 times, at least 5 times we can use it in Sri Lanka, and we can bring down the cost. Actually, beyond a certain number of times, you have to use chemicals and heat sterilization, which also is costly. So because of that, you come to a breaking point. About 4 or 5 times, then it's financially viable to use it. But in the research side, people have used it even more, and they have found that it works. Still, it is possible to use it. So in Sri Lanka, most of the younger doctors who come from after training, they don't have the technology or they do not use it, because today the trend is to use and throw it away. Like, nobody wants to make things to last longly. But in the good old days when we trained, they made things so that you can use it for longer and longer times, like, you know. So we have now the technology in Western Hospital, we have perfected it so that we can give dialysis less than 5,000 rupees for people who are really in financially a bad way.
Now, speaking about the cost factor, you have just priced dialysis at just rupees 5,000, whereas in other places you find it for about 8,500 rupees. How did this pricing come about?
Well, that's because the dialyzer is the most expensive part of the process, and the dialyzer may cost, you know, about 3,000 to 4,000 rupees. So instead of using it once and throwing it away, if you can use it 3 times over, then you might find that you can bring down the cost of dialysis significantly, like, you know. So That's what we have done. We have not done anything marvelous except to be able to reuse safely. And the patient need not think that their quality of life will be altered. Actually, their quality of life is improved because some people don't have money and they will dialyze only once a week, spending 10,000 rupees like. But now, instead of that, they can have 2 dialyses for the price of 1 dialysis, basically. If they will spend 5,000 rupees in dialysis, they can have 2 dialyses, and it will be 10,000 rupees a week. And so their quality of life will actually improve. Like.
Now, in terms of the future, what's in the pipeline from when it comes to kidney transplantation or even dialysis with the Western Hospital?
Well, actually, we are going one step further because we are going to get a machine down. It's already invoiced and it's being coming in this ship for reprocessing dialysis. There are certain machines which have been developed for reprocessing, which is more accurate, and it's also date stamped the day you reprocess it, and so that you don't make any mistake about using different people dialysis for another patient. For that particular patient it is used, and it is like a washing machine. You fix the used dialyzer and it rinses through chemicals as well as heat sensitive, heat resistance, and clears the dialyzer so that the dialyzer can be used, and it is volumetrically known to be a good dialyzer. It will tell you when to use it or when to stop using it and so on. So that is one thing. So the second thing is we want to improve the comfort of the patient during dialysis, and the patient who has to wait for 4 hours sometimes find it very difficult and uncomfortable to stay in a bed for 4 hours. So we have this chair which you can, it's like a Hansi Putwa, where you can put your legs up or your head down and so on. You can watch television, you can read a book.
It's a more comfortable option.
A more comfortable option for dialysis. So that one will be very soon introduced at Western Hospital.
Yes, and with that we had quite an insightful conversation with you. So thank you so very much for joining us, and we wish you all the very best with everything you hope to do in the future for this nation.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Western Hospitals. Your health, our mission.
Guest with us right now from today's event. Hi sir, firstly tell me, what are your thoughts on the dialysis center that they just opened up here at the Western Hospital?
Yeah, I think the World Kidney Day theme today is living well with kidney disease. Therefore, I think with this type of setup you can really live well. And I think Professor Rizvi Sharif has been the pioneer in kidney disease and transplants in the country. And I see that every year there is a remarkable improvement in the way that they handle patients. And therefore, I think it's continuous quality improvement. It's a great thing to see.
Now, there are some travelers or even tourists who travel down to Sri Lanka for holiday dialysis. Would you recommend this place for them?
Yes, Naveksha. I think any country, if you were to improve the tourism, you need to improve medical care as well. No one would like to come to a country which has no medical care. This is world-class medical care. These are Fresenius machines, Fresenius water purification systems, and top ICU care, and also the knowledge behind the people who serve the people. These are all ingredients to do good tourism.
Now, in terms of the cost factor, when you take dialysis, how would you, sort of rank the Western Hospital in terms of something like that?
Yeah, I think Naveksha, it's always, dialysis is a thing which is very cost sensitive. I think that the pricing has to be right for people to come and get it. It's a lifelong process sometimes, unless you do a kidney transplant. Therefore, I think, these things are meshed very well, and therefore willingness to pay, ability to pay, and then also the patient's customer satisfaction is very, very important in continuing dialysis.
Thank you so very much for taking the time to talk to us.
when we came to Western Infirmary, we actually got more and more patients. But later on, when there are other patients who had no donors, we started doing this other type of transplant called unrelated transplants. Of course, we had to go through certain legal procedures.
And we're speaking to Rushd Nisam right now. Hi, sir. First of all, tell me, what is your message to the people out there on World Kidney Day?
Yeah. So World Kidney Day 2021 is all about living well with kidney disease. When managing CKD or chronic kidney disease patients, while paying attention to the prevention and progression of the kidney disease, at the same time it is important to give the support for the patient and their family.
Now, tell me, what are your thoughts on the Western Hospital's dialysis unit and also the Mercy Center?
Western Hospital has the longest standing dialysis and KT program in Sri Lanka. They have set an example of excellence in providing renal care to dialysis, renal care for the patients in Sri Lanka. The Mercy Dialysis Unit is a low-cost dialysis facility where the most of the patients in Sri Lanka, some patients cannot afford a high-cost dialysis, so they will be definitely get benefited by this Mercy Dialysis Unit.
Thank you so very much for talking to us. I hope you have a great day.
Probably the institution which has performed the most number of transplants in Sri Lanka, if I'm not mistaken. The whole staff is really geared for kidney transplantation, and they're skilled and they're knowledgeable, and they've been doing this for many years. It has been actually a pleasure working with the entire staff.
And I don't want any risk, so that's why I choose to take this hospital to do the transplant kidney for my daughter.
And we have Dr. Habiba Sharif with us right now. First of all, tell me, what are your thoughts on World Kidney Day and what would be your message to the people out there?
The theme for World Kidney Day this year is living well with kidney disease. So when you think of kidney disease, the first thing that comes to mind, it's like a very sad thing for the patient first of all and the family. But as there are so many aspects that we have to consider. So it's a mental wellness that we have to consider as well as a physical wellness. And the most important thing is to empower our patients, to engage the patient in the disease that they have and to educate them about the disease. Because if you take the mental aspect for the patient as well as the family, they have to incur a large cost for dialysis, which is the treatment for kidney disease or kidney transplantation, and it is lifelong. It's not a treatment that you can just do today, tomorrow and then get discharged and it's over. So your kidneys shut down, they don't work. So these machines that you can see behind me, they are what has to do the work of the kidney. So you usually have to do dialysis at least twice a week or for the rest of your life, or you consider kidney transplant where you get a kidney from a donor and then you can live your life. But you have to educate the patient and you have to counsel them and make them understand and engage them that okay, you have got this, but it's not the end of the world. So we have started a Mercy Dialysis Center here that gives economical dialysis for patients. That's why we call it Mercy Dialysis, as well as high-grade RO system machines that we have here. Fresenius 4008 machines with high-grade RO system that will give you a dialysis as well. And also physical aspect, when we consider we have to make sure that we tell the patients to follow up properly, come for clinics. When you have kidney disease, you can detect it at the early stages or late stages. Usually we detected, unfortunately in the late stages you see the features, but if you have diabetes and hypertension, you should get your kidneys checked out, and you can control your sugars, control your pressures, and maintain that, you know, at least make the progression of kidney disease a little bit longer before you start dialysis if you are having kidney disease.
I'd like to ask you, is the quality of life better for people on dialysis or even on a kidney transplant?
Yes, well, the treatment for patients who have kidney disease, that is end stage kidney disease, is dialysis. If they don't get that, they will get very sick, right? So, to a stage that even it might take their life. So, they have to do dialysis, and they have to do dialysis at least twice or thrice a week. Okay, so definitely the quality of life is much better if you do your dialysis on time.
What are the unique advantages of someone coming to the Western Hospital for dialysis or even kidney transplantation?
Well, dialysis at the moment, we have 2 dialysis centers like I told you. So, one is the RO high grade system that we have brand new machines. We have got Fresenius 4008 machines with what the water purification system is quite pristine, and patients will get a very high quality type of dialysis. Also, we have a mercy dialysis as well for a more affordable price for those patients who have economic difficulties, as a service to the community. And definitely because of the pricing of the mercy center dialysis, without getting 1 dialysis a week, they can actually get for the 2 dialysis a week, which will give them a better quality of life. And actually, more than dialysis, which is a lifelong treatment, we would recommend patients to go for a kidney transplant. It's easier said than done, of course, but our hospital, we do a very fast registration process, and we get our tests done faster. We have a kidney transplant coordinating center on the 5th level, and we have 2 coordinators who are just dedicated only for this. So, we have to immediately just register them, admit them, do all their investigations, make sure that they are fit for transplantation, cardiology wise and otherwise anesthesia wise as well, and get them fit to get the transplant done. And within a month, let's say, or less than that, we can get the transplant done after the clearance ministry guidelines are done.
Thank you so very much for taking the time to talk to us, and we wish you all the very best for everything that you hope to do in the future.
Thank you very much.
The hospital is the leading private medical care provider in the field of kidney transplants, having performed many successful surgeries, while acting as a resource center which trains Sri Lankan medical professionals to meet high standards of medical care.
We're speaking to Mr. Omar Sharif right now. Hi, Omar.
Hi, Naveksha.
Tell me now, how does it feel that you have opened 2 new dialysis units in the Western Hospital? How does it feel, and how has the whole experience been?
It's a great feeling, actually. I played a huge part in coordinating with Fresenius Medical Care, who is the world's #1 dialysis equipment provider in the world. I think it's a great addition. I think the water quality that they are doing with their reverse osmosis machines will really bring clinical benefits to our patients, and I think that's a real improvement. And also for foreigners traveling from abroad, this center is international. It's up to the international standard, so I think that's a great addition. I think in terms of the general population in Sri Lanka, the Mercy Dialysis Center will be a solution, because we are providing very affordable dialysis at a very low cost of ₹5,000. When you compare with other average market conditions, it's like 8,500. So I think we'll be helping the CKD patients in Sri Lanka, the chronic kidney disease patients in Sri Lanka.
Definitely.
By doing so.
Now, given that the whole world is facing a pandemic situation and you have played an integral role in COVID management in the Western Hospital, tell me, how did you do it and what was the process like?
I think the main thing that we have to realize that what we're doing as in the private sector is we're playing a complementary role to the government. They are the main people who are actually managing the disease in the country. But there has been COVID-19 patients even walking through the doors in the private sector. So we as an institution had to develop structures, strategies and systems in order to safeguard our employees, our patients. Some of the strategies that we have been undertaking in Western Hospital is proper segregation of fever patients. High-risk patients are properly segregated, as well as we're having proper hand washing and sanitizing zones, isolation rooms if they are COVID positive. These are some of the things that we have undertaken. So that has been from a patient perspective, but from an employee perspective too, we've been giving enough personal protection equipment for all our staff, including gloves, masks, goggles, KN95 masks or N95 masks. This includes surgical theatre as well as our OPD as well. And on top of that, we've been undertaking a lot of testing as well. So we've been helping the government in terms of the testing drive. So we actually tied up with a firm called Credence Genomics. So by tying up with them, we actually got community testing approval, and we were lucky to we were one of the few companies to actually set up these system strategies and structures in such a place, in such a way that we were able to go and market to corporates as well. So we did a lot of testing for large government institutions as well as private sector, including Ceylon Petroleum Corporation, Maga Group, Access Group, Iconic, just to name a few. I think nearly every day we are doing testing at their sites as well. So I think we have played a part in our management of COVID through that method.
Definitely. Yes. Thank you so very much for taking the time to talk to us, and we wish you all the very best for the future endeavors.
Okay, thank you.
Western Hospitals, your health, our mission.
And we are speaking to Pratap from Credence Genomics. First of all, tell me about Credence Genomics and what types of services you offer.
Basically, Credence Genomics is a next generation sequencing facility. We started in 2011, and we are one of the pioneer of setting up NGS facility in Sri Lanka and all the Southeast Asia. We do commercial diagnosis in the areas of non-invasive prenatal testing, rare diseases and cancer diseases as well. And recently, because of the pandemic, we decided, okay, why don't, so we have so much of technology invested on our firm, why don't we invest in terms of identifying the COVID diagnosis as well? And with the joint venture of many private institutions, including Western Hospital, they are one of our long-standing partners. So we decided to set up the COVID Diagnosis Center, which is capable right now. That is the largest private sector PCR testing facility, which has over about 6,000 tests per day. And also we are in the position of identifying any new variants which is spreading in the market and the community as well. So that's who is Credence, and that's what we are doing with Western Hospital.
If you could tell us a little bit more about the partnership you have as an organization with the Western Hospital.
Western Hospital, because basically they are doing the most of the dialysis services in the country. So with our product, which called whole exome sequencing, we'll be able to identify all the rare mutations which patients can have. And then once we identify those mutations, we provide those data with Western Hospital. So Western Hospital has the ability to treat the patient and basically a personalized treatment for more of a precision treatment progress.
Now, given the current pandemic that the whole world is facing, is your organization and is your lab able to identify the new COVID-19 variant?
Exactly. So basically what we do is automated extraction, which has been very popular in the European and the US countries. So what automated extraction does is, it doesn't matter which variant it is. The variants, we identify based on the genes. It's not on the human DNA, the DNA of the viral. So basically the RNA DNA, we can identify any new variants which spread in the community. We are in a position to identify that as well.
from Ben Worldwide with us right now. Hi Preeti. First of all, tell me about the website that you all have developed for the Western Hospital and also some of the features in it.
I'd be more than glad to. At Ben Worldwide, what we have done is we have focused the entire website design and development on the user. With user in focus, we have developed an entire clean, minimal sort of a design which can guide the user to the kind of content that he's looking for and will be able to connect with Western Hospital and sort of be able to find out the kind of services that they offer and thereby, help Western Hospital in turn reach to that wider audience range, not just locally but worldwide as well. And also keeping in mind the various devices that have come in place, we have also gone ahead and kept the responsiveness of the website in place, which means that you can view the website through the different devices that are in place.
Of course, if you could tell us a little bit more about the mobile compatibility of this website.
In terms of like I mentioned earlier, in terms of the mobile compatibility, this website needs to be accessible to anyone and everyone, whether it's locally or worldwide as well. Hence, we have gone with a web responsive kind of an approach where when you view the website through any of the devices, it can sort of be viewed clearly with clear navigation. You can read the content and you can move on and have a good interaction with the site.
Thank you so very much for talking to us and hope you have a great day.
Thank you.
And we have Dilhan from Arogya Life Systems with us right now. Hi Dilhan. Hi. First of all, tell us about the integration between Arogya Life System and the Western Hospital's website.
Yeah, what we are doing with Western Hospital is that we have integrated their website to offer pharmacy delivery and home test solutions, in the sense basically to explain through our Heartbeat web app. Patients can book their medicine through Western Hospital pharmacy, which will be delivered to your doorstep, and also from the home front they can reserve any medical tests to be done at the hospital itself. So that's the integration that we have with the website and the hospital.
Now talking about this delivery, the pharmacy delivery and also the lab test, the whole process, how convenient is it to the users out there?
It's basically a 3-step process. Basically log on to the website. When they go to the website, there's a area which shows medicine delivery and lab tests. So they just need to go there, and from the browser it can be accessed. And then it's a 3-step process, basically very simple.
All right. Thank you so very much for talking to us, and best of luck with everything in the future.
Thank you very much.
And that was an insight into how kidney transplants and dialysis takes place at the Western Hospital. For more details, do log on to their website www.westernhospital.lk. Until we see you again with another exciting episode on Hi TV, I'm your host Naveksha signing out.
Western Hospitals. Your health, our mission.